Hey everybody, it's Bust with Expedition Trial number 292 or so. 292, 1. We're somewhere in there. We're in the 290s. Under 300, more than 290. So let's get to it. So, interesting little set, right? All of these are pretty reasonable cards. I don't generally like starting out with this Tryndamere. This is, a fine pool, but I don't really like building towards Tryndamere. There's not really a build around theme here. The real things we have going for it are, there's Tryndamere. We're starting with Howling Abyss, very powerful, and then it has the Yetis theme to it, and so it's a pool that if you're really looking to get like the Yetis going, or you need some early game for what your pool can do, then it's fine. But there's just not a full like build around theme here like there is with Teemo or with Riven. And so we're going to ignore the Tryndamere, although this is probably arguably one of the best Trendemirs you could ever get. Maybe if it had like Omen Hawk instead of Brittle Steel, that would be about as good as it can get. Or maybe you'd rather have Feel the Rush than Howling Abyss. But this is a very powerful Trendemir. Then over here in the second pack, we're not taking Blades and Buff Riven is fine. If you're looking to build towards Reforge, then this is the way to do it. Much in the same vein as I don't really like starting with Trendemir because he's kind of a support. Same thing applies to Riven, right? She's fine. A 3/4 for 3 that makes Reforged tokens is fine. Blade Squire, of course, great unit, but again, this Reforge ability isn't a full build around. It needs to be like where you're helping something out. So it's like you're doing Reforges and Lee Sin, or you're doing Lee Forges and Puffcat Peddlers over here with Teemo. You need that and factor that I don't really like just starting with Riven without already having the and factor involved. So we're going to let that go because the thing we can build around here is Teemo. I can't remember if we've drafted Teemo since we got the premium one. I don't think we have, and so that will ultimately be the theme of this trial, is getting this premium Teemo on board and going. And so, it's a pretty good start nonetheless. We always want a Thermogenic Beam in our Teemos. Amateur Aeronaut does push towards, the Elusives theme, which you can put together with this Total Recall Teemo, but we'll talk about that a little more. Let's get this pulled up on the site real quick. Okay, if you're not familiar with the site, it's ftpbus.com. It's where I keep all of my expedition-related content. And so we'll just be on the Expedition Helper section here. This is also the main page, however you prefer to get to it. We'll scroll down to the little drop-down box, make our way to Teemo, make our way to Teemo, make our way to Teemo. There we go. Click on Total Recall, take a peek at what we're working with here. And so, yeah, of course, this is just the Puffcaps deck. There's a few different decks that we can put together with this, and then if you don't really watch the kind of deck building previews that I like to do here, they did add Rummage to this pool. And so the big thing, if you're already familiar with what's in this deck, they just put Rummage back in here. Very powerful with this Puffcap theme. And so, in general, like the things I'd like to call it with Teemo, the way that we typically want to look at this is your deck is not going to be expensive. You're wanting this to certainly be on the cheaper side of things. I really don't like playing cards that cost more than 4 mana. I really want 4 to be the top of what we're doing. And whether or not that 4 mana is, if we're going for the Elusives theme, because we do have the, what's her name? The Amateur Aeronaut, then we want that 4-cost card to be some Snipe Scavenger. He lives over in Shroom and Boom Teemo. If we're going for this kind of Puffcat Peddler build around, then we want that 4-cost unit to be Chump Wump. And then if we're trying to actually do like the Total Recall thing, like not really get value out of these Puffcaps, but try to get some value out of replaying our units, then we want to be building to Back Alley Barkeeps. And so, we really want to like minimize the 4 drops that we aren't actively playing in our deck. So if we're building towards Back Alley Barkeep and we end up with a Chump Wump, fine, right? But if we're trying to build a deck with 3 and 4 and 5 Back Alley Barkeeps, we don't want to also have 3 and 4 and 5 Chump Wumps. And so, that's kind of like the big thing that we'll end up trying to piece together here, which of these specific decks we're trying to end up in. If we don't want to end up in one of those, and these do just put together, very powerful, aggressive strategies, every aggro deck is very happy to have a 1/1 elusive that will probably get between 5 and 6 damage in during the game. And so, right, if you get Teemo going, Maybe he gets a flipped hit, maybe he doesn't, but your opponent both has to like actively try and deal with him before he just gets out of hand. And then even if he doesn't get out of hand, he's probably going to get in between like 4 and 6 damage on his own between throwing 10 puff caps in your opponent's deck and getting in a couple of elusive hits. And so very powerful and aggressive strategies, even if that's not what we're trying to pull off. So we'll see what shows up here, which direction we're going to try and take this. I typically want these decks to just be focused on the Piltover side of things, but we'll see what makes an appearance here. And so, if we do want to actually just build towards elusives, can do that here. And kind of interestingly, also having the Devori Conspirator, as this would be, your Total Recall counterpart, right? The Total Recall theme is, you're supposed to be recalling your clump of wumps to get additional puff caps. In general, that theme's kind of trash, but, I do want to call out that we are seeing the Conspirator here with Teemo, and we could potentially put together just an aggressive elusives deck, especially since, the Conspirator, Young Witch, Amateur Aeronaut, and Teemo all have elusive, something that we could be doing. In the same vein, we do have Psy Scout over here providing us with elusive. Just kind of the problem with Psy Scout is, as we just mentioned, we really don't want a lot of cards in our deck that cost more than 4 mana, and we'd most certainly be picking up, Talia and Kahiri. And so they aren't like super interesting here. Maybe this would be interesting in a future pack, and it's kind of cool that it has the Psy Scout in it, but we're not going to be hitting landmarks off of this, so I think we can let this go. The only realistic landmark we'll see out of Piltover is the Hex Tech Foundry, the 3-cost thing that Howling Mons everybody, and that's not something that we're going to have in excess of, and not something we want multiple copies of. It's just something that's going to be very awkward with this style of deck. And so, last but not least, we're passing on incubators. Sejuani is kind of interesting, right? The idea here is, how do we maximize the Sejuani to get these damages dealt to our opponent? You typically just attack, and you're only getting damaged under your opponent half of the game. But having access to all these puff caps does give us ways to activate Plunder for Sejuani, have her activate her flip ability, and then also activate things like Wolf Rider. And so, it could be an interesting little pairing here. We've done this before. It doesn't mix like super well because, again, if we're just sitting around trying to play cards that cost 4 or less mana, that's not something that Freylord is particularly good at. But, it is an option. And I guess, let's take a peek at Raiding Party real quick. I can't remember what the actual new cards were in this set. I think it's the 1/2 thing that plunders to give +2/+4. Am I right on that? But they had a Blighted Ravine in here. Of course, these great AoE combos for your Teemos and Blighted Ravine and Ember Maiden. No, we're looking for Ice Shard as well. Spoils of War, that was the one I was actually seriously looking for. Grant an ally +1/+2 and then plunder to give it +2/+4. I could see a world where that's useful, but not quite what we're looking for here. And so I think I'm okay with taking this Yasuo. We're really right on track to be piecing together some kind of elusives deck, and so the only downside to this Yasuo is the spells here aren't that great. I guess we could, look to pick up a something like Concussive Palm, but if we're going to be out here trying to build towards something like Puffcap Peddler, then the Solar Winds isn't going to be that useful. But nonetheless, I think that's who we want to be taking here. So let's take a scroll down to Yasuo real quick. Yasuo, Solar Winds, and see what we're working with. And so yeah, it has a touch of the Total Recall theme, right? With the Total Recall, we're trying to return units to our hand for some value. This is going to give us, the Conspirators and then access to Homecoming as a means to return units to our hand. I guess I should say, I have no intention of actually building around Yasuo. There's no stuns in Piltover. There's no recalls in Piltover, and so we're not going to have any combos with Yasuo coming out of our Piltover cards. But this does have the good early game units, and the Blade Scout, the Conspirator, and the Young Witch. Doesn't have the like the 2/1 that gives something +1 attack, but ideally we can just pick up some things like that. But then you can also come in with like Solitary Monks. The big thing I was wanting to see here is like, are there any spells that are reasonable? A Concussive Palm was what immediately came to mind, but there's not really anything else here. And so we would just kind of be specifically looking for units within this card pool. Just, you're not really popping off with Teemo when you're dropping 5 mana spells that just return a unit to their owner's hand. And so I do want to like double check in with the Sejuani and see if there were any useful spells here. She did have Elixir of Iron. Fury of the North is kind of okay. Ice Shard and the AoEs are not something that we would be looking for. Okay, yeah, there's not a real density of spells. Of course, nothing's going to be as dense as Piltover, but you know, if you're paired up with say Riven, you know, then you have access to a lot of spells. But okay, the elusives it is. I think I'm on board with this, and then we'll just have to kind of see how the cards come together in the kind of deck that we're able to piece together. Oh boy! All right, well let's get to cracking with these elusives. Got another Navori Conspirator and a Young Witch. I don't know why I just end up in all these trials where we try to have like 6 and 7 Young Witches, but I can't help it. You know, I love me a Young Witch. I don't think we'll end up with 7 in this trial, but wouldn't be upset if we did. Okay, and so I mean there is, you know, some cards here that could play towards the Teemo theme, right? If we're wanting to build towards, well, I guess I need to call out two things here. If we wanted to build towards like the, what is it called, Puffcat Peddler, then you know Mountain Goat certainly helps out. He's a 2-drop, and if he just comes down and trades and makes a gem, then fine. You know, you have a little bit more fuel towards. You know, leveling up your peddlers, maybe you get to put the gem on Teemo. It's very easy to find useful combos with Mountain Goat here, but I don't want to branch out into 3 factions. The big thing that's worrying me here is that we're you know we're wanting to find Teemo cards, but we've been taking not Teemo cards, and they have like Shroom and Boom has a high cohesiveness rating to it, and so kind of the idea there is if you think of the card specifically Mushroom Cloud, right? This used to be a card that was physically in the game, the 1 mana spell that puts 5 puff caps into your opponent's deck, and you know, let's just say that we're not playing Teemo, right? We're playing, I don't know, some Vi Twisted Fate deck or something, and then it's pick 14 of the trial, and it gives us a pack with Mushroom Cloud in it. Yeah, it's horrible. That's a real feels bad moment. And so there's a thing called cohesiveness rating and a thing called wild pick bonus as to where, you know, when your deck more resembles like specific buckets, then you're going to be more likely to see those packs. The less it resembles it, the less likely you'll be to see it. So if we're going through these trials and not taking any of the puff cap cards, we're going to be less likely to see like the Shroom and Boom kind of pulls. You know, nothing we can do about it here, but we do need to kind of like make sure we aren't just going to be a super Ionia deck here. But long story short, as far as these cards go, I kind of want like Rush, and I think we can get something done with Eye of the Dragon. So I'm going to go ahead and come in and take this. You know, it kind of seems like something that could play well with the puff caps. I'm just not like real interested in playing like a Spirit's Refuge. We're not going to be like twin disciplinesing Teemo or anything. You know, if we're having like Zed and he's stuck getting into ground combat, then fine, we want twin disciplines. But it's something that, you know, if we put it in a Teemo deck, then fine, it's not going to be horrible. But it's not a card that we're going to be actively seeking. Okay, and all right, this one, it's just this is annoying. Like, it's so tough to just come in and pass on these Young Witches. I have a tough time doing it, but I think we need to be taking this Total Recall pack. I think we have to tell the thing, hey, you know, we're trying to draft Teemo here, actually. But man, this is so good. No, we've got a 1-drop here. I think we have to take these. Oh man, I have the worst time trying to pass Young Witches. I think it's just far and away one of the strongest cards in the game, and one of my favorites while it's at it. But now we're going to get stuck with things like this. I think we have to take the Ballistic Bot Gotcha. Not really excited about it, but these other cards aren't on theme. There is an argument, you know, if in the previous pack we did take the Young Witch Conspirator, then, you know, Yusari may actually be what we're wanting here as just kind of our top end, right? Yusari would probably be better than Yasuo as our top end, since, you know, if we're just playing elusives, every unit in our deck has elusive except Yasuo, then, you know, our opponent's just never blocking anything, so they're going to have units on board. They're going to throw their random 2-drop in front of Yasuo, and he's not going to deal any damage. You know, Yusari just continues on this train of having elusive. Man, maybe we do have to just come in and take these, but it's so tough. Like when you're picking up all of these like elusive cards and then not playing Zed. It's tough. Oh man, okay. Well, we're gonna take the Yusari. I've kind of accidentally convinced myself that that's what we wanted to be doing here, but he will be our top end. We're not really looking for anything more expensive than Yusari. Okay. What do we do here? I don't want back alley barkeeps, right? We're never going to get a use out of this. Again, kind of in the same vein as to why I wanted the Yusari. Our units shouldn't be getting blocked, and so I'm not really excited in Stand United. So that's just going to leave us with Homecoming, Concussive Palm, right? If we're taking a Concussive Palm, we're taking the one with Homecoming. Okay, and there we have it. It's another Young Witch, am I right? So, interesting. Yeah, it has to just said like, okay, dude's not playing puff caps, and I can't blame it. I don't know if we saw even any puff cap cards early, but it's certainly not happening at this point. And so I think we just have to come in and take the Young Witch. But I do, still fully intend on taking 3 Teemos. And here, now they're ready to show back up. Now they're on point with being here. Now, I think this is who we actually want to be taking. We're not a River Shaper deck. I don't want Steel Tempest. And, we have a handful of Conspirators, but we don't need a whole lot of them. I do want these Puff Caps to end up showing up here. The way I tend to look at these style of decks is if we can usually do like 10 or 12 damage, then we can just close it out with Puff Caps. And I don't think we should have too much trouble doing that here. Even though we're like very far away from being a Puff Cap deck, I think we have a pretty good core to switch over to them eventually. Okay, but here's a Greenglade Duo. We're never passing that. I do hate Greenglade Elder in this style of deck, because, if things are going right, say we play Teemo on 1, Greenglade Duo on 2, we don't want to be playing Greenglade Elder on 3, right? We've already kind of thrown away 2 cards that could get a bonus from this. I prefer this to be in more like mid-rangey style decks, but the Greenglade Duo was too good to pass up. All right, well, I'm pretty, reasonably happy with this. Always happy for a Young Witch. We're pretty happy to have a Whimsy in this style of deck. The rest of these cards aren't that exciting. We don't want multiples of Homecomings and Will of Ionias. We don't want a Recall. So, Young Witch it is. Welcome to the team. All right, this is an interesting set. I'm kind of interested in an Insightful Investigator. We do have a ton of 2-drops here, and some of these 2-drops we can just play multiple times, like the Navori Conspirator. So this could see some use here. Kind of interested in Eager Apprentice. He plays much better in a deck that has a bunch of Mystic Shots in it, and that's just not where we're at. So I think we're okay to let it go, and then we can take this Insightful Investigator as just kind of our super late game, if that's what the game comes down to. Okay, then here, very good. It's ultra important to have a bunch of 1-drops with these Young Witches, right? If you want to kind of think of how the game flows, if you want to say, okay, we're on the odd attacks, and so we start with a Blade Scout, then if we play Young Witch on 2, we can attack with the Blade Scout on 3 and probably get a pretty powerful attack in, right? It's tough for our opponents to deal with a 3-attack quick attack. And then on the flip side of the coin, if we're on the even attacks, if we don't play a 1-drop, then just the 1 mana hit from a Young Witch on 2 is not that exciting. And so these 1 mana units are extremely important here. Okay. So, I mean, it hurts. It hurts to take Plaza Guardians, especially when we're so far away from being like a very spell-centric deck. I think ultimately this Yusari Key Guardian is what, kind of what the doctor ordered, but I'm going to take the Mystic Shot. Can we do this? It's tough at this point, right? We're at the end of the trial. It doesn't think that we're trying to play Puff Caps, and so it's tough in that sense. But on the flip side of the coin, if we start taking Teemos, which we plan to do, maybe it'll fix itself with the trade picks. And so actually, I am just going to take this Yusari and see if we can't make something work with it. Okay, and so reasonably happy with the Insightful Investigator. The Jeweled Protector should play well in this deck. It plays extremely well in Elusives, but I'm going to get rid of the Trail of Evidence for Flower Child. We have 4 Young Witches, and it just has a lot of potential for some very good early games. And the Trail of Evidence is just kind of a garbage card. I don't like these random generators. If there were, more cards like Veteran Insightful Investigator that gave you some kind of bonus for playing a 2, then the Trail of Evidence could be fine. But with just 1 payoff card, I'm not really happy about that. So, all right. So this is tough. We're running out of cards to turn into premiums. I don't know if we even have any here. I think I've already got all the elusives. Amateur Aeronaut, maybe our call. That's the only one I can think of here. Oh man, let's see. We might have to level up a rare or a spell. We're getting to that point in time. So let's see. Save me, Amateur Aeronaut. Nice. And you were the one that sent us right towards elusives, right at the beginning of the trial, and so I think it's really just appropriate that she made an appearance here. I don't feel so bad about it anymore, but I love leveling these up, right? You have to imagine how many people out there really go and level up their Amateur Aeronauts. There's the 3 whales out there that leveled up their entire collection, and then and then there's us. Otherwise, nobody else is leveling that thing up. But But all right, let's try to get this curve going. Start with the Young Witch. Not like super awkward, but as you can see, like if we had a 1, how much more powerful this kind of draw would be. But, I mean, as much as I hate on the Greenglade Elder, this being a 4-attack quick attack on the 3rd turn isn't horrible. Okay. Interesting. Cybernassus, but picking up the landmark. Ultimately, the big thing I think we'll have to worry about this one is something like Spirit Fire. It just kills all of our units. It's very easy to just be like, well, I'm going to bank 2 mana and play it on turn 5. Bro, right not on time.
Carrots can fly, Rim. Okay.
So pretty reasonable.
Traditions are lost if not passed on.
This way. Go.
But as you can see, like this kind of clearly illustrates my problem with not wanting Yasuos here, right? Is we're getting this like big aggressive elusive draw together, and then one moment. What do we think here? We can Key Guardian a Young Witch and still just throw it in front of Sivir. Or what do we actually think about Key Guardianing a Navori Blade Scout? Because that just shuts down the whole attack. I dig it. We can still spend all of our mana next turn, and then we can still make the Blade Scout a good attacker with a Young Witch. I'm pretty on board with this. Enjoy. Okay. All right, and now, you know, we have to get. I think we just want to get our Yusari going. We could get Yasuo down, but he's not threatening anything really. He's just going to get blocked. I think I just want to start chunking in the face damage. The big thing with this combat is we can still just like rush whatever he blocks, right? Man, maybe we should just get the 2 Young Witches. I think that's who we want.
Off we go. Slow down.
Convinced me. It's fine. I at least want to like positively interact with this 4 health unit is where this is coming from. We could, you know, make an argument to just boost our Young Witches. So it'd be hitting for like 2, 4, 6, and then +1 to Greenglade Elder. But I think I'd rather whittle down some of his board. Oh god, we're gonna get Spirit Fired, aren't we? Oh goodness.
This way. Go.
Oh goodness, here comes the Spirit Fire. Yep. That would have been the argument for playing Yasuo. And he's still just taking the damage? Oh man, he's going to give us an opportunity to win this game. Okay. That was ultra greedy. Like, I call it, you know, don't lose and we'll win. You know, the situation will come up as to where as long as you just go in like full damage prevent mode, then you're just not going to lose the game, right? And that's typically what happens when you 5-for-1 your opponent. Is that you're just like so super far ahead that as long as you just like do everything that you can to prevent taking damage, you're going to win the game. Things like this don't really help with that theory. I was kind of trying to line up how we get like a Yasuo Yusari going. And he's going to be getting these 5-attack units every turn. I think we're good to still just play Yasuo. We can put Yasuo in front of the Clockling and then just take 15. Then that will still allow us to get another unit down. We need to just get this, like... Do this. Fey Guide Yasuo, hit for 5, try and block everything, and then get in for 6 the next turn with a rush. That's how I'm kind of seeing this. I don't think we want to be like Yusariing down Sivir.
Business as usual.
listen.
This is why we wanted to draft that Mystic Shot, right? Alright, so where are we at? We can do both of these we want, but that's only 7 plus 1 to 8 damage. But I think we do need to get both units on the board.
Stay hidden.
Alright, we're still in it. This unit is ignorable. We have the 3 blockers for these 3 things. Then, especially if he plays like just an expensive here.
Buys me a new sail. Oh boy,
Okay.
you got caught.
Can unfortunately add another unit here, but I've got the rush, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and attack with Fey Guide. Just try to get one of these units out of here. Let's see what he plays. Fuck. All right. Probably hosed at this point now, but maybe he'll give us a shot. All right, those was close. He had no reason to let us stay in this game. We were basically one combat trick away from winning that game. So. Oh, doing stuff? Sure. Okay. Alright, so let's take a peek at what shows up here. Okay, so I don't really want to make any of these trades. I'd be okay with picking up Chump Wumps, but I don't really want to lose out on our 2 Navori Conspirators. Don't want more Fey Guides, and I want to hang on to our late game play, so we have to skip over all these. Alright, let's see if we can't salvage here. Okay, okay. Sivir and Vladimir, Sivir Part 2. The little reputation going. It's alright. I mean, it seems like a reasonable hand. I'm going to get rid of Puffcat Peddler. He plays kind of like an 8-drop in this style of deck. You know, with our lack of Puffcaps and lack of spells, it's not something we're going to be looking for early. Reasonable here. Gets Blade Scout going so we get the bonus attack from the Young Witch. Where'd you go, Lulu?
These hands
Sure.
know metal and magic.
Not a bad start.
Ancient magic, new prey.
Okay.
Frade,
We're in a pretty good spot to just continue this aggression. It is kind of awkward to play the clump when we have the Investigator in our hand, but I mean, we have like 8 other 2-drops in our deck. I think we should be fine. Okay. Yes, what it is.
Is a leaf's only purpose to fall?
He knows it's a leaf's only purpose to fall. So we can survive the Spirit Fire this time, am I right? Oh, that was brutal.
I know what I'm worth.
Okay.
Come on, Rib.
This is what the obvious attack looks like, and you know, if we get the opportunity to try to rush down Sivir, I'm going to take it. Assume he's got like something going on here. Wouldn't be surprised to see a +3/+2 sharpened resolve. That's what it is. We can still get the takedown on Sivir. Okay. But right, this is the point with these decks. You know, we typically don't do this with elusives in these Teemo decks. We typically do it with just kind of the puff cap generators, and then get them to like 12, and then try to spew off a bunch of puff caps. That's the kind of general idea with these kind of Teemo strategies, but it's not what we're doing today. Can we just take a 10 bomb here? What are we able to just lethal him next turn is what I guess we have to come up with. And if we give Fey Guide to Yasuo and hit with Teemo, that would just be 4, 6 off a Young Witch, 7 from Teemo. He puts a big block in front of Fey Guide, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay.
Nothing like the great outdoors.
It's a living.
You guys have really got to keep your voices
All right,
down.
4, 5, 6, 7. If we just send it all on elusives, he puts Sivert in front of Fey Guide, so we're 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah.
This way! Go!
Life and death on the blade's edge.
Okay.
Here's your cut.
Take him to 1. We got to go ahead and spend this Mushroom Cloud this turn as well.
I found my family, my bloodkin.
What would you wish to learn?
I'm not the man you think I am.
Remember the objective.
Uh-oh, that was scary. he's putting damage to face. All right, let's see. Let's see if we get him before it matters. Oh god, he's emoting. Oh god. Oh, got him. Nice. For 3? We got him. We put 3 on the top card. Nice.
Victory was the mushrooms we planted along the way.
Alrighty, let's pick up this Teemo. There's a god with Mina? Jeez. I know, like, we've been kind of, like, clever this trial and just tried to stay towards puff caps when we had no business doing it, but, like, Mina is just absolutely not what we're looking for. But, alright. Welcome to the party, I guess. Okay. So, yeah, I was just thinking this is kind of reminiscent of the, like the Kinku Wayfinder decks, to where you just try to play Teemos and Mystic Shots and then have Kinku Wayfinders. We're not anywhere near that, but it's a thing. It could be done. So with this, man, I don't really want Chump Wump, but this could lead us to having this flipped Teemo on turn 5. We're just gonna go ahead and run him out. Should be pretty tough for Freylord to deal with the Teemo unless they're playing the some of the AoEs, right? There's a lot of those ice shards that we talked about that would be horrible with Teemo. It's very real that very real chance that our opponent's playing that kind of card. But
Carrots can fly, Rick.
not super worried about this thing. And we'll see. I'm afraid we're going to get AoE'd right out of this run. You just don't see him that often. I mean, Ice Shard. Spirit Fire is kind of common, but it'll be less so once the next patch comes out. But alright, let's try to dissuade the usage of Ice Shards here. Play our Flower Child, and cool, he just sequenced that terribly. And so that's at least kind of a saving grace for us here. I think we just want to get the Teemo going though, right? Try to get another round of puff caps hitting. There's an argument to make Young Witch happen since we're not going to get a flipped hit in until turn 5 anyways, but let's see what we can do. Our Teemos are premium, right? They gotta get the job done here. What you got? Just rage quit to my Teemo? He said, oh shit, I could have played that in combat. Probably just intimidated by the premium factor. I can't blame him. It's very common to get ultra intimidated by the premiums.
Slow down.
All right. We might have gotten a rage quit. He might have dropped his phone in the toilet. I don't want to just assume that someone rage quits. It's very common to also just drop your phone in the toilet. So maybe that's what happened here. Probably just misclicked that ice shard, and now he's feeling kind of upset about it.
Could you hold this?
All right. Well, this is fun. I don't know about you guys, but I'm having fun right now. Waiting, nothing happening. Nothing to click on these boards. Click on the kitty, I guess. Is this the actual Professor Von Yep? Is Professor Von Yep the cat? That'd be clever if that's how they did it. Hell yeah, here's the Mina we'll just actually never be able to play. I would not be surprised if 0% of our games this trial went to 9 mana.
Victory was the
It could happen,
mushrooms we
but
planted along
wouldn't be
the way.
surprised. Okay, so, I mean, I don't want more Fey Guides. These packs are all weird. I don't want retreats either. And then Insightful Investigator, we're never trading off. It's just, the only thing here is, like, Key Guardian is never that strong. I wanted to stop and see if there's anything that we could get, some kind of bonus out of. Like, we do have Greenglade Elders, which would be nice to, if we return a smaller unit to protect it from a spell and play a, that's a thought. It seems... doesn't seem like a good one. Okay. Alright, on we go. See if we're done with the AoEs for the day. Alright, it shouldn't be that bad against Victor until he starts playing starts playing Chempunk Shredders and Death Lotuses. It's hoping we're done. Hoping we're done with these AoEs.
Just need a second.
My boy, Boulevard after my heart.
Enough for everyone.
No one's
Alright, we gotta come down and just block some stuff. So do we just want to play off curve for a hot minute, or do we want to actually take this 5-piece? I think we just have to play off curve.
Quietly. Okay, ready. This one's trouble.
This one is technically just the same amount of damage, right? He's going to be attacking every turn. In the sense of a combat, this isn't correct, right? But in the sense of the damage that he's doing to face, it is. So I think I'm okay with that, especially since, kind of considering our next play just be Greenglade Elder. But drawing Gotcha, I want to get our Greenglade duo on board.
I'll scout ahead.
Scout ahead, Teemo. Alright. Wonder if our Puff Caps in his deck are premium. Did anyone ever think of that? Shouldn't this little mushroom be premium?
Flesh is a weakness we must shed.
Okay. So we have like a handful of choices. I think we just want to play the Chumpwump because this should stop him from attacking with Victor. Like, he could hit some kind of thing. He could hit like Tough or Elusive here, and that would be annoying. But this also gives us the Mushroom Cloud, so we can hit with Clipped Teemo next turn. A quick attack lets him get through here, but I think we can take one turn of hits. He's not going to be able to outrace us, I don't think.
Keep your head down, okay?
This could be slightly risky, not gonna lie. Gives him an opportunity to slow spell down our Teemo or to play another Elusive, but we're always at risk of something like a Mystic Shot here, and so I wouldn't be surprised to see this Teemo just go down before he gets the flipped hit in. Get excited. Yep, same thing.
My collection.
Genius in action.
But I think we're pretty far ahead now.
Can you improve perfection? Analyzing approach.
Spell shield. So what do we want to do here? Like the thing I'm kind of like thinking of is playing. Well, we have a couple options, right? We could play Whimsy on something. Not really excited about that. I am kind of excited about how we can just throw, like Chump Wump in front of Ballistic Bot. He's probably gonna, Ignition first, but then we can also throw Green Glade Elder in front of stuff. But ideally, we're just trying to get to a spot here to where we can Navori Conspirator back Fey Guide, play Fey Guide next turn, just kill him with Elusives. We'll see how this lines up because we may have to block both of his Legion Rearguard and his Ballistic Bot. Maybe we just go with the Flower Child.
Or no more walkies.
Look to take a Victor hit. I don't even really want to take this Victor hit. These are all we need for the lethal, right? The Green Glade Duo and the Chump Wump.
I will teach you.
I'm not afraid.
What if we just take a 3-hit? We're just taking a 3-hit. We want to do it like this.
Think before you strike.
Right, because he doesn't want to play his removal spell onto Green Glade Elder. It takes quite a bit of damage to go face with Legion Rearguards here. I think this is going to be getting us pretty close. We have to just win next turn though, right? We're in such a bad spot if we can't kill him next turn. And this is completely fine. Don't care about him saving his units. I'm very surprised he didn't put the Rising Spell Force on Legion Rearguard to have the opportunity to like kill us with a Get Excited or double Mystic Shot or Mystic Shot plus Ignition. And this is ultimately awkward. We have Bank Spell Mana. We should have played Mushroom Cloud as well. But there's so many cards here. Like, even if he just drew a Victor and has the Victor Blast, he can shut down our Green Glade Duo. So I think we have to play you. Now it like really sucks in that we don't have enough units to get in here. Even kind of considering returning our Green Glade Duo because it just does to everything. Lifesteal. Alright, he's got 14 Puff Caps. I guess I can live with the idea that we might just get him to 1.
They'll never see us coming.
We have a Whimsy for any non-Victor block here. Okay. So we should have Puff Capped to turned early, but worked out okay. Alright, let's take this last Teemo. There's a bunch of cards we don't want, but you can at least see how much like Jeweled Protector is better than Amina. If it's just a matter of us like, Jeweled Protectoring up these who are you called? Navori Conspirators and kind of cycling them around a bit. But gotta get this Teemo. Alright. Okay, so yeah, we never truly became the Puff Caps deck, but we've put forth a lot of strength. I mean, if we could trade away like the Puff Cap Peddlers, that would be fine. We definitely messed up some portions of this draft, but oh shit! I meant to I clicked too quickly and didn't get rid of the Insightful Investigator. That could be a real problem here. Our hand is not good. Jarvan Renekton. Okay.
I must reach the king.
And we just like can't trade here. He's never gonna like outrace us, so I feel okay-ish. Just kind of banking 2 and playing Blade Scouts, but
They'll never see me coming.
not guaranteed to hit something good with the Investigator, but
New recruit reporting in.
certainly we need a little something.
ancient steel.
I fight with my spirit, not my fists.
Just a little farther.
Ready yourself.
Looking for this?
Should probably just go ahead and get in here, right? Now that this is already on the board, let's try to take down the Penitent Squire, or take down the actual elite. Right? This is never going to get any boosts in the future. And we can realistically play 2 spells now. So I wanted to kind of save the card for save the card draw thing since it costs 2 for the Investigator, but we just need to run out these spells.
For the prince! He appeared out of nowhere.
Okay,
Make way!
double okay.
And that would mean
For a 3?
my
Weird,
journey
weird.
continues.
Okay. Alright, buddy. Oh, yes, +1/+1 from the Battlesmith, though. I guess that makes sense. So we probably need to, like, whimsy down this Vanguard Squire. Play Young Witch afterwards. We're not going to get to
This is it!
cycle any cards, unfortunately.
I mustn't stop.
One way to test them out.
Oh. Maybe not. I can get behind this. I'm just going to leave him with the Battlesmith, and then we can Young Witch the Investigator next turn. We'll get to draw a card off the Young Witch, maybe get to play some stuff. I can get behind this. He's going to get bigger than us quickly, so I'd rather just be doing things with elusives, but let's see what we can piece together.
Yes,
Let's do this first. Try to keep him off of spells, or off of bonuses. It's okay to lose Concussive Palm. Okay, and then what's this? This is 5 damage, and Yusari is 4. So I'm gonna Young Witch Aeronaut here.
I want to go home.
I'll rend a bloody path through Shurima.
13. Is this a game? Are we gonna get the non-mana just just so the game proves a point at us?
I must reach the king.
Let's see what happens. I don't really want him hooking our Usaris. If he hooks one of our smaller units, then okay, but I think we need to chunk in all this damage.
Just a little farther.
No surrender.
Okay.
Hit! Run!
The power of our order.
We're gonna play Mina, aren't we? This is gonna be a Mina game. But let's see what happens. I'd love to see him just spend a bunch of mana and us be able to challenge down both of his units. Big quick attack challenge here. Does nothing. Interesting.
Carrots can fly, Rib.
Okay, okay. Ow.
Gonna get hit with the dang Spirit Fire again?
Way.
How bad is this, right? How wrong could this go? He clearly has a ton of mana. If he has the Spirit Fire, then we still kill his Renekton. But then we kind of don't want the Squire to go away. I guess we'll at least kill it as well. But we lose our Yusari at the end. Then what if he has back-to-back, right? Back-to-back is abysmally bad. You just trade with here, lose with this one. And then, of course, we have this option, which I don't think we can take, right? Since both of his units have Challenger, I think we just gotta go for it. Oh, this is gonna be bad. This is never good, right? He's just passing with infinite mana. Really? Wow. Wow. Okay. Did not expect that. Does he have a handful of like Ruthless Predators or something?
Their bones will litter the desert.
Okay. Get clever. Get clever.
Perseverance will lead to triumph.
Okay. At least, you know, he can replay the Marauder, but it's going to lose his Challenger. So the big thing here.
Fly our standard with pride.
Tooth and claw!
And then, like, what world does he ever have a combat trick here, right? If in the previous turn we hook his Renekton and little thing, and then he just doesn't have a combat trick, yeah, that doesn't make sense. This is fine. This makes sense. But
My magic.
okay.
Traditions are lost if not passed on.
A cut above the rest.
All right. All our cards have been shown. I think we just do this, right? All of his attacks are terrible here. Just want to chunk this damage in because we don't actually want to make any of these trades. This hook is not scary in any way. And he's probably just going to have to give up some of these units. He only has to block one, though. Just not being lethal is kind of sad here, but
No doubt you've heard of me.
he has perfect information since we don't have any cards.
Follow my lead.
Sure. Thought he was going to be coming in on Yusari. I thought it was strange to see him hook Yasuo. It's weird. Is he just giving up?
Will be pleased.
Today
No.
we turn the
Okay.
tide of war.
Alright, I'll show it then. That was what his ultimate plan was.
Sent by the king himself.
Come on, Rib.
My final test. I still
We
have
want to
some
do it like
fire.
this, I think.
One with the shadow.
Life and death on a blade's edge.
So we'll hit with the non-elusive to the left. You shouldn't have lifesteal cards, but in the event there was one, we'd want these units on the left. Then make him deal with our quick attacks on the right. Okay, alright, so yeah, I'm just lying all over the place this trial. Putting together some kind of weird deck. We're not doing puff cap things, but I try to call it that. Say we'll never get to non-mana, then we do it. Alright, gotta take another Mina to make up for it. No. So, you know, I'm kind of interested in another Navori Conspirator. But we don't have a lot of early game plays. We got 6, 3 Teemos, 3 dudes. Do technically have the 2 Greenglade Elders that can get some value out of it. We did just pick up what's his name, Jewel Protector. Do kind of like, excuse me, the additional 2 drops for the Insightful Investigator as well. Okay, let's give it a go. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Oh, goodness. That FTB bus nap time in here in just a little bit. Okay, so I would like to find a 1-drop. I think you don't, well, against, he's only got 2 LeBlancs though. This is kind of, well, I think it would even be okay with Thermogenic Beam because we do run into problems if they have like a, like the 5/1. That's not what we're looking for as far as the mulligan's concerned. I was hoping to spike another 1-drop, and then even if we just hit another 2, it was kind of okay. But
Off we go. Roll down.
so if you, sometimes they try to slow roll that 5/1 Challenger. This is kind of the reason we're cool to hang on to these Thermogenic Beams. There's
We made it.
a lot of good targets out of these LeBlanc decks.
I stand for Noxus!
Traditions are lost
Okay.
if not passed on.
Noxus!
Works for me. Then we're probably just going to be coming in with Yusari, right? As it stands, even he can't block our Greenglade Elder, but
Make the Empire
You can get some quick attack challenges down here. And also really close to killing this guy. Let's see what he plays.
This way.
Fun.
This one's mine.
So, Whirling Death would be good, but we've got pretty good control of the board now. It's probably a little aggressive just to go face with the Usari. Look at this! What a standard FTP bus deck, man! You just get all you just get all your young witches on the board and call it a day. Okay, we just gotta block this stuff. So I'm gonna play Eye of the Dragon.
The spirit gives to those who
Just try to get damage on the board. As long as he can't block us next turn, then we'll be okay.
Look what I found. Come on, boys.
Think before you strike.
Carrots can fly, Rim.
Do we ever want to add Conspirator? 2, 3, 6. There's a world. There is a world where we wanted to do that.
Master said will be pleased.
Right, because then we'd just be able to re-add a unit here.
This way. Go. Zoom.
I think those should do it. I don't think there's any... He can get like a quicksand onto the big Usari, but still enough to just close it out. Oh, we would have been one short, wouldn't we? Quicksand would have been a disaster. So yeah, we should have played that to where we could have gotten the 6 elusives on the board. Played the Conspirator, then replayed Young Witch. Okay, where's this get us? We don't want Static Shocks. I want to hang on to my Usaris, and we don't... Well, I'm okay with Concussive Palms, but not at the cost of a Conspirator. So we gotta let that one go. Alright, so yeah, like ultimately all we're looking for here. Would like to get rid of these expensive cards like Mina. We really, again, don't want our cards to cost more than 4 mana. Would love to just get rid of the kind of off-theme Puffcap cards. Like if we get rid of Puffcap Peddler, then fine. I'm kind of okay with having the 2-drop one and the 4-drop one that put the Mushroom Clouds in your hand, but don't really want the Peddlers because we don't have the spell density for it. We're in a pretty good spot. It's pretty decent. You can see how much people like have to hard freak out as soon as you put a Teemo on the board. So, I mean, it's going to be weak here. There's so much unspeakable horrors and stuff coming out of this style of deck, but sometimes they don't have it, right?
Oh, you gotta focus. Wait, is that a familiar frog? Oh my gosh. Go on, Rim.
You don't mean to say hello.
Oh, buddy, that's not a start. I think he's going to try and Blighted Caretaker us next turn. Judgment. Okay. Cool. Very good for us.
Hey, Krabby.
That's my resting face.
Find the beginning.
Alrighty, let's see where this gets us. This should be pretty good, right? And Teemo?
Wait, is that a familiar frog? Oh my gosh. Go on,
I'm
Rim.
interested in Teemo.
Say hello. Hello.
Because we're just getting this like one good attack with Flower Child. Our ground game's going to get shut down now.
Nothing like the great outdoors. Zoom. Full speed ahead.
This is interesting, right? If he has the Unspeakable Horror, does he ever just, you know, hit Teemo over Greenglade Duo?
Let's move.
This is tough.
There's enough for everyone.
I guess if he had Unspeakable Horror, he probably would have already played it by this point, but...
Shall we, dear wolf?
I'm ready, little lamb.
Who's a good boy?
Who's a good boy?
I smell prey.
Oh, he likes you.
Maybe we shouldn't have blocked here. We should have just taken this damage. Now we can play a Black Spear. That was not intelligent. At least we have like a backup Teemo, but we should not have done that.
More for my collection. Ooh, quite a collection.
All right, I don't. This is again. I don't think it ultimately is going to matter here, but curious about the correct way to line these up, just to try to be playing around Unspeakable Horrors, because the important one now is Teemo, right? So I thought we could probably spread the damage out a bit this way. This is fine.
Push on without me.
What does he want from
Okay.
me?
We're pretty safe to just completely avoid this combat. I don't want to concussive palm something here, but
No great
we still have all the mana to Greenglade Elder, Conspirator, and concussive palm. Okay.
Get in the cage.
Get in the cage. So he's tapped out, so let's block stuff now that we can. Concussive palm this thing. You can flip his Callisto, don't particularly care about. Oh no, man, we have the concussive palm we can return now. I was like, no, we got rid of all of our units and we can't play our Conspirator. This has been sloppy this afternoon.
Final lesson.
Oh, and our units just didn't die in combat. Alright, we'll get it together at some point. Get our elusive. I'm going to go ahead and Mushroom Cloud, since we're getting pretty close to lethal. Every point matters at this point. It's kind of that thing where if you have Lightning Bolt and your opponent's at 20, it doesn't matter, but if they're at 3, then they're dead. I think we're getting pretty close to winning with these.
Quietly now.
Yeah, let's spread the damage out. If he's got another Grasp of the Undying, want to get as much damage out as we can. Okay, so we'll take 2. Should be able to take down this Callista. Again, want to get these Mushroom Clouds going. Every point matters. Come in, try to kill Callista. But when we say this every point matters, right? We can't just be opening on him every turn, or not opening and trying to boost up Greenglade Duo. It's too easy for him to play. Okay, it's too easy for him to play spells that mess up our board. So I do want to be opening, but then just trying to get some additional puff cap damage in. Cool, cool. Let's get there.
Mushrooms we planted along the way.
All right, any improvements? Nope. See these cards over here on the right, the cards we can trade for, these are all expensive. These cards over here on the left are not expensive. We're going to keep our not expensive cards. Easy game, easy game. So that doesn't exactly apply here. Greenglade Duo is, arguably a little bit more important than Flower Child. What do we just have the 6 1-drops though? I think I actually want to hang on to the Flower Child because we have so many Young Witches. So let's hang on to that. I'm okay with that. I'm kind of okay with trading away Eye of the Dragon for Concussive Palm. It's not like super good here, but it's at least an interactive element, and we're not doing anything with the Eye of the Dragon. So let's at least just get that one out of here. No way we want Vi. That trash out. I'm not real excited about Calculated Creations, but maybe we can get an Android going or something. I don't see a situation where we ever want to play Puffcat Peddler. And then trading it for Greenglade Duo, that's perfect. Okay, we have had, moderate success with Fey Guide, but, oh man, we got the opportunity to pick up another Flower Child. Alright, I know how to Young Witch, guys. I know how to do it. Let's see, a Veteran Investigator, he's pretty on point for the style of deck. I'm okay now that we're trading out some of these spells, because we don't have any Puffcat Peddlers anyways. But you know, with the way these games go, and we're just being ultra aggressive and ending the game on you know, like turn 6, we're going to be able to take advantage of that card draw much more than our opponents. So happy to pick it up. And then this is a frightening looking pairing. If they're going to be you know, playing ice shards and stuff, they have the Spirit's Fire from the Sivers and the Ice Shards from the Lysandra. Hopefully he's just out here doing like dumb landmark stuff without Talia, but let's see what we can do. Do we ever open with Flower Child? It's 1 less damage than the Blade Scout, but there is a world where we don't play. We wouldn't want to play the Flower Child on 3. Maybe we're missing out on a point of damage here. But the way I kind of see this is that like we're just going to be hitting with the
Is that a familiar frog? Oh my gosh.
like Flower Child 100% with the Young Witch, but then we can still get like an elusive attack in at some point in the game with the Blade Scout. So maybe it's okay. Feels like dude's about to drop some shenanigans. Avalanche. Okay.
Reporting in. They'll never know what hit 'em.
Okay. So I wasn't actually going to play this Teemo. It seemed like something was extremely up, whether or not it was an avalanche or some AoE. Glad that we got to hang behind with Teemo.
Interesting reaction.
I'll make a note.
Death is like the wind, always by my side.
Let's take this. If we have to have like the combat go wrong, I want it to be on the next turn when we're at least getting the Yasuo attack in. And I think we just want to make him elusive, right? Would we rather just play you sorry? If he dies, he dies. It's not the end of the world. We're definitely not a Yasuo attack.
The War Mother will unite us all.
Fear the dark.
There's enough for everyone.
Somewhat interesting in the whimsy. I'm not quite planning on playing it here. This attack isn't super scary, especially if we can get like Veteran Investigator down. Like just taking 5 isn't a big deal at this point. Like he probably has a big dude here, does in Sivir, but
Status hide. An expert is at work.
this is okay. We can whimsy this Hearthguard. Not the time to do it, but it is what it is. You can't just take both of these cards here.
Business as usual. Odd behavior.
Okay. And then ultimately, like, how greedy can we be on this turn? Do we need to just go like all in on the aggression, or do we want to get a quick attack challenge? Picking up Teemo is pretty nice. Pretty nice. But let's start with this. Right? We're never quick attacking Yasuo, so I just want to get the damage in with him. We could technically do 4, 8, 9, 10, 11 with Young Witch and double his puff caps. I think that's probably the way we want to approach it. Let's see how he spends his mana here, though. I don't think we need to be like quick attack challenging Sivir and getting in for like a 5 punch, 6 punch. Right, because we're going to have Young Witch down. Okay.
Off we go. Slow down.
Are you guys trying to get caught?
Okay, so he's tapped out now. So yeah, we're not going to have any good ground attacks, so let's flip our Teemo,
Love the smell of mushrooms
come in
the
with our elusives,
Success is planting your mushrooms right.
see how it goes.
I face my fate. Your turn.
Takes him to 4 with 30 puff caps.
You hold this.
Takes him to 5 with 30 puff caps. Mathematics has never been my strong suit. Oscar. Okay.
You guys have really got to keep your voices down.
Okay.
We should be able to, he's tapped out. We should be able to pretty easily figure out how to not die here. And then we'll just open with whatever we have left over.
Me.
Danger pays.
Crack eyes and flesh! Beg your pardon?
That doesn't do it. That does do it, but let's at least put the damage on this thing. Go to 1. Now, Ice Shard does deal 1 damage to everything, so I think we should probably block with our other dude as well to be at 6. Okay.
I'm a woman of principle. Mine is kill and get paid.
Alright, I think we're in a pretty good spot here.
Clear my name.
Hey, Krabby.
That's my resting face.
Okay. Just dead? No.
Come on, Rib. They'll never know what hit them.
Okay. I have to assume this is going to do it. A lot of angles he has to try to stop this from. Just 2 actual lethals. Has to stop the Teemo Young Witch combo and then survive the puff caps. I feel like we're going to be pretty good there. So yeah, nice little 7 winner. Glad we got to get the premium 7 with Teemo. The deck we didn't do this draft well. Just kind of a display of the strength of the style of archetype, even when you're running into Spirit Fire, running into Ice Shard, running into Avalanche, and still taking this to a pretty easy cruise to 7. And so, yeah, I mean, I was trying to be kind of like cute in the trial. I wanted my premium Teemo trial to be kind of like focused on the puff caps, and that's not really what our deck was going to be strong doing. We could have very much similarly to like that Zed draft we had, you know, like 3 or 4 trials ago where we had 6 Greenglade duos and 7 Young Witches. We could have had very much a similar deck here. But I wanted to be able to kind of like push on this Teemo just a little bit, just to risk, you know, get him to flip maybe a handful of times or at least threaten it. And you know, we were pretty close to that, right? We flipped our Teemo twice, 3 times, 2 or 3 times. But you know, that's just ultimately the big thing is when you play him on turn 1, you get those 2 hits in on 1 and 3, and then if you have 1 puff cap on turn 5, to get a flip on him, it's such a huge amount of aggression that you can threaten on your opponents, and then you can also hopefully, you know, get in for the 2 damage plus 10 puff caps, and then maybe get like a Grasp of the Undying or get a Vengeance or something. Just get some kind of humongous mana play out of your opponent's card for your Teemo. And so, you know, even if you aren't fully in the puff cap theme, you know, he's still a legitimate threat that your opponent has to pay attention to. But yeah, I mean, when you're seeing all these packs where, you know, you're getting Navori Conspirator Young Witch, we picked it up maybe twice. I thought we got like 2 of these, or I'm pretty sure that like we saw this pack like twice and just passed on it, just to try to be cute and clever here. So I mean, this ultimately wasn't, you know, the most series of runs. This felt a little bit closer to a meme run than a real, you know, guide on getting to 7. But I think the key points are here. The keys of the strategy being good and the takeaways that you can get from this exist, even though we did try to meme this up a little bit. And that being, you know, if it costs more than 4 mana, you don't really want it in your deck. You know, the Usari's completely fine, and, you know, just all around the best finisher when you're in these elusives decks, right? We could see in a handful of these games as to where it's just like, okay, well, you know, I'm attacking with our elusives, our opponent can't block, we're not blocking, and so, you know, your opponent has a hapless aristocrat and a, you know, random 2/3 on the board that's just going to chump block anything that you put forth, and so your ground units aren't that useful, right? They're never getting in for damage unless it's like on turn 3 and they're getting Young Witched. And so, in that sense, you are really looking to just have, elusives, or, you're looking to have Jeweled Protector to put stats on your elusives. And so these are, your kind of ideal top ends. We did some cute stuff with Fey Guides, but that's not really that necessary. As you can see with most of these games, it's just all about the Young Witch again. It's such a powerful unit, gives you such ultra strong aggressive draws. It turns your, one drops into perennial threats. It gives your challenger units ways to, take down your opponent's stuff without using combat tricks. Just the backbone to so many decks. Young Witch is just such a powerful card. And so, I think, for the rest of the time here, we will talk about just being in this kind of elusives deck. And so, they aren't that ultra complex, right? But you're really just looking for any of the cards that say elusive on them. You want to keep your curve as super low as possible. Again, like this four mana spot, it's such a great spot to like to call out. Whether or not we're looking for chump wumps, whether or not we're looking for some snipe scavengers, whether or not we're looking for back alley barkeeps. We see this here really recently with Shurima, where it's very easy to get this glut of 4-drops, and you don't really want all of them. A lot of them aren't on point, but you have to really just kind of like pick out that one that is going to be the good one in your deck. And so, typically in this style of deck, you would, probably lean more on some snipe scavenger. He can be, a little iffy. Like typically when we get these decks together, they don't quite look like this. They have more amateur aeronauts, more some snipe scavengers, less Ionia cards, and then more burn. And so the some snipe scavenger fits a little better. But in this style of deck, I'm very wholeheartedly agree that Fey Guide was our bro. Just turning any 3-attack unit into an elusive, or a 4-attack unit in the case of Yasuo. Really just helping us push through that extra bit of damage and leaving us with a blocker on the board. And so, ultimately this became our 4-drop of choice. But the same rule still applies. Pick who your 4-drop of choice is going to be, stick to that one, and then don't overload on all of the other ones. And so other than that, take the cards that say elusives, take the cards that say mystic shots, keep your curve low, and do pick up a handful of puff cap cards. I would have ultimately been happy with this deck, if I wanted to look at this deck and be like, oh yeah, that's a 7 winner. If we take out Mina, take out Jeweled Protector, take out Whimsy, take out Veteran Investigator, and then just I wanted one more Chump Wump, and then add in 2 Clump of Wumps and like 2 Mystic Shots, and then something else that's just cheap, and just look at that and be like, oh yeah, oh yeah, that's the stuff. But pretty close to being there, and pretty close, been a very powerful deck at the end. So yeah, that is going to do it for us today. Looks like we got a reward flashing at us, so let's just go ahead and click on it real quick. Looks like somebody's about to get a Lysandra. Sure did. Welcome to the team. Glad you're a part of our day, Lysandra. Let's see, we got a silver chest. Oh, look at that, all the Lysandra cards. Ice Shard, Blighted Ravine, and Tomb. Gotta remember these reward things before we go and start crafting stuff in our expeditions. Nonetheless, that is going to do it for us today. I hope you all enjoyed the trial. You maybe learned how to elude your opponents just a little bit better. You had a good time watching and learned a thing or two along the way. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.